Hey, what is up YouTube? thyAshes here, bringing you a post-Mexico 2019 Q&A video. Now, a lot of you guys have been asking me a lot of questions on Twitter and Discord, all that fun stuff. So I figured, as you can see from this tweet here, why don't we just go ahead and make this an official video, answer these questions and get them out of the way, because I know a lot of you guys have a lot of questions about that comeback we performed in Mexico. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and start scrolling through these. First one coming from Cog Couple, who asks, what did you shout at the end of the final? All right, so I'm not really someone who's known for talking trash during these tournaments, and I definitely believe in the professionalism of coaching. I believe that, you know, we're supposed to be that kind of, that voice of reason. You know, obviously I want to give my teammates hype and I want to get excited with them, but at the same time, I feel like it's our kind of responsibility to be not the adult, but just the mature one who can keep a level head when the tension's running high, the energy's running high. That being said, that matchup with us versus Denial is a big rivalry for me personally. Obviously, you know, our ex-teammate Icy is over on that team, but it's not really about that as much as it is my rivalry with their coach, Fatal Strike. Now, Fatal Strike and I have always kind of had a very healthy professional relationship. I've always shown him respect. He's always shown me respect. But basically, I've heard a lot of talk in the community about things that have been said about me by various members, either of that team or by him, you know, by Fatal Strike himself. And I don't have any hard feelings towards most of them. I don't have any problems with them, but I definitely felt like I had something to prove there. There's been a lot of hype about him being the best coach in Gears esports, and I wanted to prove that, you know, his process, whether it works for him or not, doesn't match up to what we're doing over here in OpTic. So at the end of the finals, after we finally won, I might have shouted some stuff about he'll never beat me, and never once in his career has he beat me, and it'll stay that way. And there's obviously some cuss words thrown in there in the hype of the moment. But yeah, that one meant a lot to me. Now, the next question comes from MVP Buster, who asks, what was your favorite memory / pastime while in Mexico this time around? Honestly, for me, this is, we didn't really do a whole lot. At least I didn't. You know, was either at the tournament watching events and hanging out with fans, or we were competing, or I was back in the hotel watching VOD and sleeping and getting ready for the next day. The only other thing that we kind of did outside of that was eat. So I'm gonna go with the tacos at the local taco spot across the street from our hotel. We went there probably 4 or 5 times. Every time they saw us coming, they knew they had to get a bunch of tables together because there was a big group of us. And the pastor there was, oh, so good. My buddy Light TK asks, if you could play one Gears of War game for the rest of your life, what will it be and why? Keep up the good work. Thank you, man. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate that. If I had to play one Gears of War game for the rest of my life, I would probably play the most current one, just because I've gone back and played the old ones. And even though Gears of War 2 was probably my favorite, the current one I feel like has the most to offer. And because it's the most recent, obviously there's more stuff going on with it in terms of, you know, new game modes coming out and stuff like that. And it's pretty much the only one I play. Plus it's 60 FPS compared to 30 on those. And that changes is pretty dramatic when you go back and see it. A little bit of a troll question from Demise. He said, what are you doing? I'm making this video, man. What are you doing? You better be getting ready for the next event. The next question comes from Move Wavy, who asks, what goes into being a coach that you think people don't know about? This is actually something I'm going to do for a separate video completely. I've wanted for a little while now to make a video about like what I do for my team as a coach and kind of like the basics of my methodology, because a lot of people, you know, there's a lot of voices in the community that are negative, and I've actually gotten the habit recently of just muting people on Twitter who try to take the joy away out of either, you know, jealousy or whatever the case may be. Just, you know, trying to push out that negativity. Because I have so much positive in my life, and I don't want to lose sight of that. And it's always been a problem for me when one negative voice stands out compared to like 100 positive voices. And I think a lot of people have to deal with that. So for me, I'm really trying to focus on that. And so I want to make a video to kind of answer those negative voices without directly addressing them about what I do as a coach. I think it's time that people maybe get a better understanding about what coaches can provide to teams. I think that the Gears of War community as a whole has definitely adapted way more and has started to appreciate what coaches do. And there's definitely a lot of people that have seen me in my groove and see me working with the team and see that I'm actually a valuable asset to my team. And I've always had the support of my teammates, so I've never really worried about it. But I think it's time that we talk about it a little bit more publicly and maybe influence some people to show them that, you know, being a coach is actually something viable for teams. It's something beneficial for teams, and it's something viable for people to pursue if they can't compete like I can't. The next question comes from X5P33DY. I think that's supposed to be XSpeedy. They ask, can you explain the leak Twitch stream with denial? Sorry, late to the party on this. So basically, before the event, actually probably a while ago, a couple months ago, we were whenever we started practicing again. So that was early January, so a month and a half ago. We were given by an anonymous amateur player the secondary account of franchise. It was Burning 0303. And what they were doing is they were streaming everything to Twitch. And I think part of the coaching process there for Fatal was he wanted everything recorded. And then for him, he could interact with their online tournaments and stuff, interact with the team through the stream. So there's obviously a little bit of delay, but he can help keep weapon timers and just kind of keep them focused and whatnot. So I think that was why they were streaming. Plus they felt that was easier than having to save the videos to their computer and upload them. It's just all right there. The problem is streaming to Twitch is public, no matter where or what you do. What they were doing is they weren't putting a game and they weren't putting a title so that it doesn't get directly listed in any game category. It just kind of is out there in the universe. I don't know how it was found. It wasn't found by any of us. It was just given to us and all the other pro teams. And it took them a while to catch on. So we had, as well as every other pro team, access to those conversations. And every time we beat them or played them, we had access to, you know, them making adjustments and stuff like that. So it was definitely a big mistake on their part, in my opinion, to stream to Twitch. There's a lot of other streaming services that are able to be archived as private, that or just record privately to your computer, upload it privately to YouTube, and you avoid all of that, because anything that's put out there to the internet can be found. It's just out there. So I think that was a huge mistake. Icy was also streaming, and at the event when we first saw them, we called them by their names, so Burning and Wolfboy, the names of their second accounts. And so yeah, teams just had access to those. Reciprocity was doing it. Kenny had one, Soto had one. I'm not sure if other teams had it as well. I think Rise was making most of their stuff public anyways, and we didn't have any because we all live near each other. And I don't know. We've done something like that in the past. When I first joined this team back in Gears of War UE, I used to make lava stream privately to another streaming service that was less of a delay, as well as you could make it private. It was something that I did with all of my League of Legends teams when I worked in League. So it was something that I thought was beneficial coming into Gears of War. So I was surprised to see teams doing it on Twitch. It just seems like a really bad idea and really irresponsible. No disrespect to them, just putting it out there. It's out there. It's listed somewhere. All you have to do is just scroll through the stream list and see people playing Gears. So that was what happened. So all of their stuff was kind of out there for the community. They still played really well, and in my opinion, I think that having that information isn't as valuable as people make it seem, because it's about who shows up that day and who executes. That's why I've always been a firm believer of our team being able to stream 2Ks and being able to stream scrims, even though we haven't done that as much recently, per me and Brian, because we Solars, we really wanted stuff that we could work on to be private. But I think that people overvalue that information, and for us it was more entertainment than anything. Thank you, MtnDew GameFuel, you're delicious. All right, Ortiz Rick asks, why did you talk smack? Is the beef between Denial and OpTic that serious? Keep doing it though, I enjoyed it. I kind of already addressed this. It was more of a thing between me and Fatal, and the things that I've heard or seen said about me, but not directly to me. I think that my major disagreements with him come from his his style on stage and then what's said about me behind the scenes. Like if you come to me and you say, look, I don't agree with what you're doing, like I've said pretty blatantly, I don't agree with some of the things and how he acts. I've said that very publicly. I've said that to him in conversations between us. While I respect the amount of work that he puts in, we just definitely have a differing process, and we explored that in that video with All Access where Colin was interviewing us. So I think it was that culmination of everything that I'd heard or seen said about me by members of that team, and the way, especially when we lost in the winter finals, the way it was, or he specifically was, obviously like we walked over to them because they weren't coming over to us and said GG's. So that was a little bit like kind of disrespectful. The fact that the winning team's always supposed to go say GG's to the losing team, and the fact that they didn't come over to us was maybe they're caught up in the moment or something, but it's still like it's so many things stacked up that that was kind of the boiling point for me. Maybe I should do it more. Let me know. Jay Catalinic, and I apologize if I say your name incorrectly, says, what was the turning point? For us, the turning point was a talk that we had after we lost to Denial. That was kind of the most mature talk that I think we've ever had after a loss as a team. And the one who I want to give the most credit to, or I'm gonna kind of give credit to like two people. One, Explosive. He's the team captain, he's the team leader, and the whole team kind of feeds off his vibe and his energy. And after we lost to Denial, we got 2-0'd. I mean, we lost the first map 7-6, and it shouldn't have been 7-6. One, we could have won that map, but two, we shouldn't have been that close. And then Harbor, we just got destroyed. It was interesting to see how Gilbert reacted, because Gilbert's very passionate and he hates losing more than anything. Explosive, for those of you who don't know him as Gilbert. He was very calm. He didn't yell. He didn't yell at his teammates like you guys might have heard in more recent 2K losses. He wasn't angry. I've seen us, you know, in London when we got knocked out or down into losers bracket, it was pure anger. In Vegas when we got eliminated, it was chair being thrown. He is a rage monster, and he knows it, and it's his passion. It's his passion for the game and for winning. So I'm not faulting him for it at all. If anything, I respect it. But he was a different kind of level of maturity. He was very calm. He just put his earbuds in and he said something along the lines of, this isn't over. We've done this before. We can do it again. We'll be fine. Like, just let's shake this one off. Like, obviously he was angry, but he wasn't yelling and he wasn't like being aggressive. And I had a huge amount of respect for that, because it felt like a more mature leader. Like he was standing up and recognizing his role as a leader. And then the other person I want to really give credit to is Mental, because Mental is often very quiet and like makes comments based on things that he sees, but he was also kind of stepping up and going like, look guys, like one, we have done this before. Like Brian and Praise, Solars and Praise, you haven't been here. We've done this before. We can do it again now. But here's the things that like I saw was going wrong, and like was very like adamant about and being like outspoken about those faults, which was really cool to see from him. It was like he was also helping that leadership role. Him and Gilbert were a really good duo with that, especially going into the grand finals. You could hear in the listen-ins like their communication together. Not only were they playing out of their minds, the whole team was, but their communication together, it was really cool to see Mental, who's known for being just a quiet phenom, to step up in that way. So after we left the stage, we had I called for the team to like, hey, let's find somewhere that we can stop and talk. And so we found like a little like corner backstage that was really dark, and we had a team talk. Gilbert was definitely like kind of leading the conversation, and I was assisting that with like I guess because that was where he started to get a little bit more worked up and frustrated thinking back on the loss. And I was also providing the like, okay, like, you know, here's like he would talk very openly about like everything, and I was trying to take what he was saying, adding in what I saw, and condensing it into like the key points, right? Because like after a loss, everyone's going to be feeling flustered. Everyone's going to be mad and depressed and down and whatever the case, however you react, sad. And I knew that. So I believe I literally said to the whole team, like, look guys, like get it out of your system right now. Like feel sad, feel mad, feel upset, whatever. Get it out of your system right now because we can still do this. We've done this before and we need to come at this with level heads. We have to come at this like we're still just playing a regular tournament and we have to play like ourselves. And here's the things that we need to work on. We need to focus on our small talk because we were yelling everything and we were too flustered. We need to be make sure that we're talking to each other in that small talk and not yelling everything like out loud. So you know, just keep it casual and small talk. Numbers, because we were doing a really bad job of calling numbers and keeping track of their rotations, which is super important in gears, especially in escalation. And we need to something else. And after that talk, we got back up on stage. We played Slab again against Ghost because they picked it and Forge was our auto ban, and we got destroyed. And Billy said, look, we've already gotten shit on that map, pardon my language. Brush that off. We're starting the series fresh. We didn't lose a map. We're just starting right now here on Old Town. And I said 100% correct. Old Town was their auto ban leading up to this event. They banned Foundation like every other team did against us. So this should be a free win. So this is our map where we can kind of get ourselves back into our groove. Don't get mad at mistakes because this should be a guaranteed win as long as you guys just know how to pull the right trigger on your controllers and understand how the map works. Listen to my voice, listen to Gilbert's voice, because that's kind of how we do the shot calling. Gilbert's obviously the primary shot caller, and then on LAN, I kind of like am a secondary shot caller. Like I'll be the voice of reason to help Gilbert kind of control the flow, and then you know, just like have fun. That's the biggest thing. Like just have fun, because this is going to be a map where they look dumb. No offense to Ghost, and it's just lack of practice on it, and we can have fun with it. And that was where we found ourselves. The next question comes from _George HD_. He said, did Slab just mess you guys up? What was wrong during that series? Kind of touched on that in the previous question. Slab was our weakest map going into the event. That wasn't our autoban. Forge was our autoban. It's been our autoban. We haven't touched it since maybe San Diego, right after San Diego, sometime around San Diego. We haven't touched that map since. Yeah, it was right after San Diego. So Slab was the map that was clearly our weakest. Going into the Columbus Invitational, it was between Slab and Diner, but a lot of teams didn't really know how to play Slab, and Diner some teams were familiar with, but Diner we were much better at on LAN and showed Rise when we 7-0'd them when they picked it, that, you know, we know how to play the map. It's just we're not good at it online or something. And so Slab going into this event was definitely our weakest map. We spent a lot of time practicing it and trying to work things out. But honestly, the way the map plays is very 50-50. It's all about how your smokes and who gets stunned and who doesn't on that furnace side fight when a weapon goes down, because that's where everyone puts the weapon. So we were ready for that. At least so we felt, but it was still like at the spectrum of all the maps, it was our least favorite. It was the one we knew we hated the most, and it was the one we were pretty sure everyone was going to pick against us. That being said, the only teams that picked it were Ghost and Denial, I believe, and it was just, you know, the first time we lost it, we could have won it. It was 7-6. We could have won it, but 2. We were also getting abused, and we didn't really like play like ourselves. We were just too flustered and too chaotic. And then the second time we played it, when we played against Ghost, we were trying to like revitalize ourselves, but it was just like still the same thing on that map. It was like they had more confidence. Our confidence was already shaken because we just got knocked down in the losers bracket. And we're on a map that we lost, that we know we're not good at. So I think it's just that map. That's why in the grand finals, right after we played Ghost, we talked about it and we said, hey, let's just ban Slab and play Forge and have fun and see what happens. Endless_JKev says, would you like to stop being a coach, and would you like to stop being a coach to be a player for the team? Honestly, it would be really fun to play. I've thought about this a lot. I was actually joking with the team like, hey, if somebody got like injured last minute, like a week or two before the event, would you guys play with me? And I think the only one who said he would was Alex. Everyone else was like, eh. So, you know, screw those guys. But I think that if I put the time into the game, like if I actually put the time into the game to work on the things that I know I'm not good at, I could be a player for probably like a top 6 team, just because I would bring more than just playing. I would be kind of like that support role that IGLs. And I think I could do that at a really high level, especially after working with Gilbert for so long, who's the best IGL in the game, and really helping. Like we kind of like, he's really good at this in like the mid-round stuff, and me working with him, we've kind of found like a really good groove for when we're like at events and working together, leading the team. And that's not me trying to take any credit from Gilbert. Gilbert's really the best. Just my role in the team at LAN events is to kind of help play that voice of reason, and because I have the weapon timers, direct those calls. Like when he's saying to push and I'm saying boom's up in 25, we're playing for boom, that's our play, and just he'll like kind of adjust. So I think that it would be really fun to be a player, but I also really enjoy my role as a coach, and I think it would be really hard to give that up, just because I really enjoy my team, and I enjoy the success that we have together, and I enjoy the respect that they have for me. And you know, that's tough to find, especially as a coach in Gears of War. It's really tough to find. You know, a lot of people say that, oh, you just coach the 5 best players in the game, but those 5 best players in the game, when I say, guys, shut up, listen to me, they will shut up and listen to me. Like a roadie will turn around in his chair and look at me when I have something important that I want to say, because they respect what I have to say. And that's a tremendous honor to me as a coach. All right, so Top Tier AK asks 2 questions. He asks, when did you realize you had the greatest team that Gears has ever seen, possibly the greatest team Gears would ever see? And also, how excited are you for the next game? So to address the first question, I knew this when I watched them play. I was actually, funnily enough, I was working with the team that was Fury very briefly at the time. Fran, Soto, Praised, and Karills. I was working for an org called Synergy. For those you were around back in like late Gal 3, early UE, you might remember like I stole SYN. But I was working for a big COD, well, semi-big COD org in League, and loved Gears, so I was trying to get back involved, and Karills was one of my good friends, so that's who I reached out to, and they were one of the top teams. I started watching them play, and I wanted to get more involved in helping them fix their issues, but it didn't really seem like something they were interested in, and funnily enough, and now I'm working with Praised. And then they made the roster change where they brought in Kenny and dropped Karills right before UE. So that was kind of like when like my main connection to that team was no longer there, and we, you know, respectfully parted ways. So going forward, I still kept an eye on Gears. I still wanted to be involved. I watched Karills as he built a new team, I think with Wingos. And I saw this team of young guns, and I'd asked him like, what do you think? And I got the stereotypical answer of like, oh, like they're good, but they're like online warriors. Like they haven't been to that many events. Solars hasn't been to an event. But I kept watching, and I saw such crazy potential in like these young guns. You know, Mental had been to an event. Explosive had been to an event. Lava had obviously been to an event, or several events, the hype events. But I just like, they kept getting referred to as like these online GB warriors, but I just saw like the way they played. It was just like this, it was like this overwhelming confidence and disrespect towards whoever they were playing against that made them successful. And I was like, okay, that's a team that if you can just carry that over, that same mindset over to LAN, it won't matter if they have experience or not. It won't matter if lights are shining them on or not. They're going to thrive in that. They're going to thrive in that chaos. And I reached out to Mental in September of 2015, maybe August, late August of 2015, and said, hey, I manage teams and coach league teams, and I'd like to help make sure that you, like, young players don't get taken advantage of, because I see crazy potential for you guys. And they brought me on. They approved, and I started working with them, and then I started getting involved as a coach and developed my coaching skills that I had from League and cater them more towards Gears. There was a lot of trial and error with it, but I've been with these guys ever since, and I've known ever since that first kind of few times that I watched them play, before I was even involved with them, that they would be the greatest, one of the greatest teams that Gears has ever seen. Currently the greatest team that Gears has ever seen. It's hard to say for the future, but we've definitely cemented a pretty incredible legacy together. In terms of the next game, I'm super excited. I have a lot of high hopes for Gears of War 5, and I think that I've said this on stream. I think that UE was the coalition's chance to kind of take over Gears of War. I think Gears of War 4 was them kind of proving, and they've even said this, proving that they can make a Gears of War game. And I think Gears of War 5 is where we are going to see their creativity kind of come into fruition within a Gears of War title. Like, hey, we can make Gears of War, we can make it feel like Gears of War. Now you're gonna see like our artistic influences and ideas for the game fully implemented into the game while still feeling like Gears. I'm really excited for that. Dynamics GG asks, what team do you really think was a challenge or you're afraid of? At that event, I think Denial was the biggest challenge. Honestly, I was most afraid of Ghost, not because of like actually playing against them, but because you're playing against the entire country of Mexico and every single person in that venue, minus like our team's like family and girlfriends that were there. So that was the team I was most afraid of. We ended up having to play them. I didn't want to. I said that the entire event, I didn't want to play them, but I had a feeling we'd play them in the grand finals. Unfortunately, it was the losers finals, but they're a really good team, and they had a lot of support in that crowd, and it was a fun match. And the thing that I liked most about that match was the fact that the crowd wasn't booing us. They were just cheering for the other team. And like that was different than when other teams played Ghost. Like when Denial played Ghost, they booed Denial and they cheered for Ghost. When other teams, the other matches Ghost had, it was boo the other team, cheer for the Ghost. With us, it was like, okay, we respect OpTic and they have summons who everybody loves, but so we're not going to boo them. And they didn't boo us when we beat Ghost, but we're obviously cheering for Ghost because Idenevs and they're the Latin American kings. Mugen Dan asks, sorry if I say your name wrong, damn near everyone asking about the comeback. Who would win, John Wick or the Punisher? In a room filled with photos and videos of John's dog, R.I.P. little one, and the Punisher's family. Also rip, like, yeah. I'd put my money on John Wick, just because, you know, Keanu Reeves is a badass. Cornhulio's Corn Disciple asks, when you guys were down, did this team have better chemistry than previous rosters? What was the key in coming back? Yes, 100%. I kind of talked about it before. The way the team interacted with each other, the way Gilbert led, the maturity, it was way better than any other teams. And this is the first time that we've lost a series going, and we didn't have any internal issues going into an event, which is something that not a lot of people think about. Like, well, I guess we didn't really have internal issues going into Dallas when we lost to Allegiance, but that was pool play and that was a quick fix. But going into Mexico season 1, we had internal issues. Going into Vegas of this season, we had internal issues, and both of those losses ended up leading to roster changes. But there was internal issues going on before the loss. It was like we were already at the point where like, okay, roster changes might be a discussion if we don't win, and then we didn't win, and then okay, like obviously we got to change something because stuff was bad before the event. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. So this team, like, there was no bad blood between anyone. 4 of them lived together in the same house. We lived in the same apartment building together, all 6 of us. And we've never really had, in the entire time we've been a team, any of those real arguments. Like, yeah, we've lost the 2K and you've heard people yell, but like literally 15, 20 minutes after that, they're texting in the text chat, okay, like here's what we need to fix, like blah, blah, blah. It's just the passion in the heat of the moment. So much better chemistry than any of our previous rosters. I was actually super proud of that with this team, just much more mature in handling that loss. And the key in coming back was just finding ourselves, finding our way to have fun and playing and rebuilding that confidence. Who I Am asks, what was the mindset after losing to Fran and Co in winners finals, and what was the move from that point forward? So the mindset after losing to Fran and Co in winners finals was, holy shit, that sucked, but we're not out of it. And we can do this. We've done it before. We can do it again. I literally looked at Brian and I said, and to Arodi, and I said, we've done this before. So trust in us. And and we trust in you guys. Like, just stay calm. We can easily do this. Like, I hope you're ready to make history. And Brian was like, yeah, 100%, we can do this. And Arodi was like, you're right. Like, you guys have done this before. Like, we got this. And And then we had that team talk that I talked about before, and it was once we started having fun and we found ourselves in Old Town against Ghost, and like just like I told them, like, this is the map where we're like, it should be a free win. Let's have fun. Let's find our groove. Remember everything that we talked about. Like, ignore Slab that we just lost. We got this, and we did it. Pow Block says, how'd you feel when even Summon stood up and was hyped? You usually never see him standing up and talking like that. Alex was definitely hyped up. It was, again, it was the way that they acted after they won. There was just a lot of small disrespectful things. Obviously, like, they stood up, they were hyped, they were talking trash. Their coach was screaming across the stage, and actually I think got a warning for it. But it was like the little things, like not coming across and saying GG's. We walked over to them just to be the professionals, and like little things like that, right? And I think Summons, with the crowds and like the hype of the event and everything, I think he got really passionate about it, and you know, you saw it, and it was fun to see. It's fun to see when everybody was getting hype. Even Billy was getting hype, like more active and more hype during the matches than usual. It was fun. Shabs1998 or 1998 asked, did they poke the beast? Oh, 100%. They literally stabbed us in the side with a sharpened rusty knife. But I guess that's not really a good comparison. Yes, they awoke the beast. They awoke 5 of them. That's for sure. Wild XXRD asks, how praise can be so happy? If everybody be that happy while playing, we all could be gods. Honestly, you have to have fun. I tweeted this a while ago. If you're not having fun, you already lost. It's essential. If you're not enjoying yourself, you're not going to do your best. That's why it's the same, like, in all aspects of life, not just competing and not just, you know, Gears of War. You know, you have to enjoy what you're doing to, like, be able to do your absolute best at it, because you just want to do it. You have that stronger drive. And so Arodi being happy and the whole team kind of laughing and enjoying themselves, that was you know, the key, one of the keys at least, for our success. Loxy asks, at any point did you guys think you weren't going to win the event? I'm gonna say no, because as a team we never thought we were out of it. Like, we lost 2-0 and we all literally said, we can do this. Like, we've done this before, we can do it now. That loss literally just wasn't us playing like ourselves and being like too stressed about the match and about the rivalry. So as soon as we find our groove and play like ourselves and just have fun, we can do this. And I think we did that. Now, for me personally, and this is where my hesitation comes from, I always kind of have these like bad not gut feelings, but just like these bad feelings, like, oh my god, like, what if this is the event that we lose? Like, what if this is like where our spree ends? Or, you know, like, what can I do? Because coaches are a lot more like helpless than the players. Like, the players are the ones, like, at the end of the day, shooting their guns and winning the match. I am just a support system for them. I can give them all the tools and preparation that I can, but if it falls on deaf ears, then what good does it do? And that was one of the problems we had in that series with Denial, is a lot of the things that Gilbert and I were saying, or even Billy was saying, was falling on deaf ears. There's just people making independent hero type plays that we didn't need, running off and doing their own thing. It was very chaotic. People weren't getting listened to, call outs weren't being heard. Like, for example, Gilbert like rotated from a spot and said, like, I'm rotating from here to here, and I've got your cross, and it just, people got surprised when they died and Gilbert wasn't there. So people like weren't adapting and weren't reacting to the comms, and I think it was because everything was just so chaotic. But as a team and as a unit, and truly, we never felt like we were going to lose the event. D-Range asks, how was Explosive like when you guys lost 2-0 to Denial? What a comeback story, though. Congrats. Thank you, man. And I already talked about this in one of the previous things. He was very mature. He was an amazing leader. He gave the speech of a lifetime, so it should be envisioned because Roger was back there recording it. Like, I was impressed. I was impressed by how he reacted to that loss. I was ready to be having to calm down angry rage Gilbert like I've had to do in the past. But this was a different Gilbert. This was a Gilbert that recognized that that loss was 100% on us and we can easily fix it, and we're better than that, and him raging is going to do no good. And it was awesome to see. Like, I have the utmost, I already have the utmost respect for my players, and especially for him as the team leader, and it grew even more than I thought it could. DL Car 17 asks, was the whole team hungover until map 2 of losers finals? LOL, you guys seem to kick into overdrive and get back to the dominance we are accustomed to seeing. What changed between map 1 and 2 of losers finals to make that happen? Between map 1 and 2, no, nobody was drunk or hungover. Between map 1 and map 2, it was really just okay, we already lost on slab. We realized that going into this event, slab was our worst map. We clearly suck on slab. So ignore that map happened. Old Town should be a free win. Let's have fun. Like, let's remember what we talked about and just enjoy ourselves. Like, no raging, no tempers, no nothing. Just enjoy the fact that we can have fun on this map, because more than likely they're not going to look as good as other teams we've played, and we should have confidence because of that. And that's exactly what happened. They just, like, a lot of their movements and the way they played the map was just clear that they hadn't put as much effort into that map as other teams. And we're really good on Old Town, and so it was just a map that we could just kind of like reset ourselves mentally, build that confidence back up, and laugh and have some fun. Shane Rob 18 asks, okay, Greenwall, congratulations on the win. Your goats, how do you feel about going into the new game, thinking about roles, weapon tuning, map strats, and basically starting all over again? Thank you, we appreciate it. It was a fun win for sure. How do you go into the new game thinking about it? We honestly, because there's no information about the new game, you know, there's no idea about like what roles there'll be. There's no idea about weapon tuning or map strats or anything. So there's not really a whole lot of thought about it. Plus we have to keep focusing on Gears 4. We still got at least one more event that, you know, is confirmed, and we're thinking it's going to be a big one. So that's not really something that any of us are thinking about. In terms of like, you know, the process of when we get there, it's exciting, you know, it's like starting over, relearning stuff. Like Gears of War 4, because we've been like winning, it's gotten a little bit, and it's been out for 2.5 years, it's gotten like a little stale in terms of like, it's just repetitive, it's the same thing over and over again, and we've been doing really well the entire time. Like not much has changed. There's not new competition really coming up. Obviously people give us challenges every now and then, as you can see from this last event, but as long as like we're playing like our game, there's never really been anything that's caught us off guard, other than a few outliers. So it's exciting to think about learning new roles, new maps, at least to me, because that's like what I get nerdy about, is like, oh cool, new maps, let's talk about new strategies, let's talk about new trick strats, let's talk about like what are the cool nerdy grenade angles and tricks and stuff like that. So I'm very excited about it. I don't know if the team has really talked about it too much, or if they're thinking about it, but yeah. Sid the Sloth 52 asks, who do you think played out of their minds at the event? If you're talking about our team, if you're talking about OpTic, obviously Mental was nutty like he always is. Explosive was an amazing IGL, especially in the grand finals. Literally every single member had their moments, and at one point we felt bad for Solars because he had like 2 or 4 kills or something like that, like 4 rounds in, and it wasn't like he was just like dying a lot. It was just everyone else was running around killing everybody, so like he was just watching like an onslaught. It was funny, like he was like a spectator, but everyone played really well. I mean, like literally, like I can name, thinking sitting right here without watching the VOD, I can think about like amazing plays that every single member of the team made, and whether it was something crazy like Billy killing 3 people on lift with only 3 bullets in his shotgun, to Gilbert clutching up in a 1v2 on lift on B Hill, to Solars making a really great rotation and getting an amazing cross, or clutching up some kills, or Summons clutching up like everybody had their moments praised. Like it wasn't missing, like literally everybody had their moments. I think everybody played out of their minds, especially in the grand finals. Supremacy asks, what was the turning point once the team lost to Denial? Who in your opinion stepped up the most to get the team focused again? So obviously Gilbert, like, you know, as a team leader, it's kind of his role to do that, and it's as the coach and manager, it's kind of my role to do that as well. And so I definitely give the most credit to Gilbert. He gave, like I said, an amazing speech. I tried to help condense stuff and make sure that things got across. I was actually really surprised by Mental too, and I want to give him a big shout out, because, you know, he was being very vocal. He was even calling strats, like just making up stuff on the fly, like, hey, here's what I want to do. I want to be in a 1v2 because I'm confident I can win it, and I want you guys to win with your number advantage somewhere else. Like on Forge, the very first round, we sent Mental up top by himself. We sent 3 people in middle and Alex over to Cap Holmes. And so he said that he wanted to do that, and I said, okay, here's how the strat like is gonna break down. Brian's gonna fake up top, so he's gonna hide like in our square, and they're gonna do 2v2 down low. If the two people that Gilbert and Praised faced in that middle area push up, then our goal, our mission of this strat is to play for those kills and then cut to Alex. If they don't play up, Gilbert cuts to Alex immediately, and we get double homes, and Brian takes over Gilbert's spot, so it's still a 2v2 in middle. The guys played up on denial, so we played for those kills. It worked out. Billy actually killed one of his kids and then chased the other one down who was running away from him and killed him too. And Alex killed his guy. So it was literally a really quick 3-cap on a map we haven't played in 4 months because of a initial call by Billy. Or mental. Lake O'Bun. You asked what was your favorite / most exciting moment out of any matchup to happen over the course of the event. I definitely think the Forge, just playing Forge in the grand finals was my favorite. And I think it's such a crazy thing. We literally looked at each other after we played Ghost and we won against Ghost and said, okay, we suck on Slab, we haven't played Forge, are you guys down to try it? And I mean, like, what's the worst that we could happen? We're either gonna lose Slab or we lose Forge, but at least Forge, we have that like question mark factor going into it. And they said, everyone said they were down, and I was like, all right, is everyone sure? Because I'm gonna go do pick and ban, and I'm gonna ban Slab, and that means they're gonna pick Forge, and I'll give you guys lift to win the first map, but Forge is gonna be a question mark, and I want to make sure that you guys aren't gonna rage, you're not gonna get tilted if we lose it, like we're just gonna play it and YOLO it and have fun. And they were like, yeah. So that was what we did, and we went into that map with the mindset of like, okay, like this is a map we should lose, so let's just do whatever we want and play to have fun. Like if we get 7-0'd, I want you guys laughing at the fact that we just let them pick our auto ban in the grand finals of a $200,000 tournament. Like just laugh at how crazy that is. And the stupid stuff that we were making up on the fly worked consistently against that team. And I think it helped that we had won lift pretty convincingly, and gotten that confidence back, and then played with that confidence and that momentum going into Forge. But they're one of the best Forge teams in the game, and we obliterated them on it just by doing unorthodox stuff and having fun. The true ego boy asks, what do you think of the album Ember? If you're talking about the Breaking Benjamin album, I love it. Dynamix, I recognize your name. What's up, champion? Question, would you change Gears of War for something else? Why and what would it be? What's your favorite Gears of War from all? My favorite Gears of War from all is Gears of War 2. Just because as a player, that was like the one I enjoyed the most playing. In terms of memories, Gears of War 4 would give me the most favorite memories, so I would enjoy Gears of War 4 the most. It just kind of depends. Would I change Gears of War for something else? I always thought, you know, like I worked in League for a long time. I would love to have been an LCS coach. I tried to be an LCS coach and manager for several years and always fell short in Challenger, which is like the amateur league right below. I always just failed to qualify for that, which was kind of like that path to pro. I worked with some amazing players, a lot of which are now in the professional league, the LCS, or have played in since I've left over the last 3 years. But that would probably be the game if I wasn't in Gears I would go for. But I don't think I would change doing Gears of War right now for something else. I had the option to actually, and I turned it down because I wanted to stay with my team. What was your team's reactions when you're down 1 map to Ghosts and Losers finals? Well, we knew Slab was kind of an L for us, so we just knew we needed to bounce back and kind of do our thing and play well. So we did our best. Like the vibes were still positive. And then Eric Wooten, aka Chinaroni, I don't know, however you pronounce that. What was the trash talk you were talking after grand finals? Again, it was me reminding or yelling across the stage that Fatal Strike has never beat me and will never beat me. And yeah, there were some expletives in the mix of that I'm not going to repeat. It was a lot of hype and energy, and that match meant a lot to me, especially in that fashion, winning in that fashion. This has by far been my favorite event that we've ever had. And the way we won it, you know, that it's just another way that we cemented our legacy as a team, as a roster. There's a lot of people doubting us. There's a lot of people against us, especially like on the analyst side. You know, there was talk of, you know, how if you ban Foundation, this team, like that's how they lose. You know, there was talk of like how our roster, ever since we changed and let go of Kenny and Icy and got praised in Solars, just wasn't a better team. That kind of stuff, you know, like I get trying to build the story, but it's still kind of mind-blowing to me because it's not, I don't think it's real. I don't think people saying it even believe it. And this one, you know, Denial had everything they needed to beat us. You know, they had the advantage of needing to win 2 series. They needed to win 2 maps. They had the advantage of us having to play Ghost in the losers finals, who was the hometown favorites and was looking hot and was coming off a win while we were coming off a loss. And we defeated all of those odds and just cemented this roster in history, and that just, it meant a lot, and it got us hyped. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a thumbs up. I hope you guys enjoyed the event as much as we did. And let me know down in the comments what your favorite part of this entire event was. I look forward to reading them all, even if it's not about our team. I just, you know, we missed a lot of stuff because we were competing. So let me know what you enjoyed the most about Mexico City 2019. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. I've got some videos coming up in the near future talking more about the event, watching the VODs and reactions, as well as the future of this channel and some things that I'm going to be changing and some giveaways that I'm going to be doing. So thank you all so much for watching, and make sure you subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.